Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Helen Tong and I'm a Minerva Fellow at the EU Japan Centre in Tokyo. In this episode, I would like to talk about Nagoya and entrepreneurship in Nagoya. So I mentioned in my previous episode that I went to visit Toyota in Aichi prefecture, and for the rest of my visit I went to visit PDAerospace, which some of you may have known of. They are your equivalent of Blue Origin, SpaceX, and Virgin Galactic of human spaceflight. They are very ambitious. They have this goal of creating an environment where in the future humans can fly in space, of course, but also including supersonic flights, hypersonic flights, and also with their technology, which changes from jet to flight mode. One of the things I did was I went to visit their factory, which I took about an hour or so, which was fine. It was a lovely train ride near the countryside, in the countryside, and it was one of those visits that I was very excited to do. Perhaps interestingly, as you may know, Japan is such a beautiful country, and to find a space tech startup working on human spaceflight located in the countryside, for me, is just perfect. So the visit allowed me to see a number of things. Obviously the size of the factory, but also the number of people. Now they're very slim, as all startups have to start somehow. And interestingly, they also have a lot of good backing. And I think when it comes to the point of maturization, where they will be ready and prepared to, sell tickets to go out into space, I think there will be a demand for it. In the meantime, their concern right now is focused on the local market, which I think is actually very important and specific to many Japanese startups before they go abroad, and in this particular case in Europe. I then went on to visit Aichi prefecture and also spoke to a number of people there and to learn about their startup scene. So they recently launched an accelerator program where they allow and invite startups, entrepreneurs within Aichi prefecture or even outside to take part in their program. They've teamed up also with an American university to, generate ideas on how best to do it. So when you look at the program, I've already done a blog on this, which I'll share the link below, is that it pretty much is, I would say, standard form. There is ideation, there is lean concepts, brainstorming ideas, obviously forming a team, and having a lot of activities and of course pitching, which is one of the biggest things about being a startup, is the ability to pitch to potential customers, investors, and obviously one's idea, an elevator pitch. And I believe that they're having their finals sometime soon in Tokyo, and a program which they hope to see would roll out in the long term. Now, one of the interesting words that many of the businesses that I've spoken to have shared with me is the word conservative. That doing business in Nagoya is conservative. Is it related to Toyota? Possibly, because things have been so successful in Toyota, structures are such in place for so many years. Why would you want to change that? And I guess that's a question that's not limited to the discussion of Toyota, but rather a discussion in terms of disruption, a discussion in terms of emergent technologies and new technologies. Why would you want to do something new when what we have works? What is interesting is when I met some of the Aichi prefecture representatives at Japan Aerospace 2018, they were very keen to see me. They said, Helen, we know our strengths is in manufacturing, but we need ideas. In other words, what works clearly is what they already have, and Aichi prefecture certainly sees themselves as the aerospace hub of Japan. There is no doubt in their marketing, in the way they present themselves, in even the booklet that they provide with all the manufacturing companies that work in aerospace. In fact, you could even see that they're trying to be progressive and opening up to foreign companies by the changes in the laws that they're trying to implement or the introduction of changes of laws. So they are being proactive. Though having said that, this word conservatives, and again, it's what they are telling me, is something I think basically could be a potential barrier. Not saying it has to be, but potential barrier for foreign companies that may wish to come and do business or set up in Aichi prefecture. So that might be something that the local government is already looking at. I spoke to a number of professors, and one of the interesting things is this idea of maybe perhaps adaptation from the foreign companies. So at the EU Japan Center, we talk a lot about collaboration, doing business together. And one of the professors I spoke to, whom happens to be Italian, did mention a lot about adapting to local culture, doing the things their way, and you'll be okay. In that kind of conversation, it was about his career path, having a smooth journey, and realizing his dreams. So I think that is something that's probably very worthwhile to take away for some of the European startups or startups in general that are interested in coming to Japan and setting up and working with the local businesses. This idea of working with local culture, working with the people. And I guess trust is another big word that is used a lot and shared a lot with me in my discussions. How does one build trust? How does one build trust in a business context? And interestingly enough, the concept or the idea that I had is it's this idea of talking business without doing or talking business. It sounds confusing, but I'll give you an example. You go out drinking. There's actually a term for this in Japanese. You build relationships through drink. The bonding of drink. Now, in a Western context, and I would say it's probably less sophisticated, it's just going out and having a drink with mates. It doesn't have the kind of implication that it does perhaps in Japan. But in Japan, it's a way of bonding relationships, and I guess it's also this idea of having shared experiences, sharing information, perhaps even on a very personal level. You know, this idea of having meetings in a boardroom may not do the magic, as opposed to if you were to have meetings in an izakaya or at a restaurant where you actually agree terms or agree business deals over a good cup of sake, as an example. So Nagoya for me overall was a very interesting visit. There are many elements, I think, for people that want to go to Nagoya to go and see for themselves. I was in Nagoya more than 10 years ago, so my experience is probably very much based on my own. So go there, see it for yourself. They have amazing food, beautiful designs, and lots to share. So that's my take on Nagoya. Let me know what you think. You can send me an email, newspace2060. I'm running a blog, newspace2060.com, where you will see my writings on Nagoya and doing business in Japan. And also feel free to share and hashtag newspace2060. Thank you. Till next time.